one FasCat questions. Who are you?
Who am I?
Carolyn! It didn't meet you! Look! It's going all the way out! 21 questions. FasCat. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm your daddy. I'm the damn paterfamilia.
I can't say a bad word. Be serious.
I'm Jake Rytlewski. Hello.
What do you do?
Besides humor my 3 children all day long and give them life lessons through dad jokes, I am a coach with FasCat Coaching. To go into that little detail, Carolyn, what do I do for work?
Good job, nice bike ride.
That's what she says. She always says that's what I do.
What did you do before FasCat?
I used to race professionally for 9 years on a few teams throughout the U.S. Out of high school, I was a waiter at one time. And then, let's see, I've also, in the winter, have done some bus driving. 2 years before FasCat, I was a teacher assistant, and I've also done substitute teaching. God bless the kindergarten teachers, man. That age, I don't know about it. Rough.
Cats or dogs?
All the dog hair on my clothes and in my house would say dogs.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bay City, Michigan. It's located right here on the thumb, on the bay.
Where do you live now?
I live in Avon, Indiana, which is just outside of Indianapolis. Unfortunately, it is a non-hand state. Can't point to it.
Oh. Describe your favorite local bike ride.
It's anything really down in Brown County. Down there they got gravel roads, paved roads. You can do a mix of both. The climbs, it's constantly up and down. Twisty farm. There's through the Hoosier National Forest, lots of trees. I made a route down there. It's 100 miles called the Bruiser Truly 100. It's a mix of road and pavement. You do 100 feet, 8,000 feet of climbing. Climbs are between half a mile to a mile and a half, up to 15% steep in sections. It's pretty tough. It's pretty fun.
What do you train with music? Do you train with music? And if so, what songs are on your playlist?
I do train with music, and anything I usually listen to was made at least 25 years ago. A lot of classic rock, some oldies, Queen, Billy Joel, Bob Seger, even the Beatles, and the Grassroots. A lot of you may have to look up what the Grassroots are, but yes, band from the 60s.
What are you currently reading?
Post-workout comments and training peaks.
What athlete action has inspired you the most?
Probably my daughters. They started cheer 9 months ago, could barely do a back bend walkover, and now we're doing double back handsprings. They just had their tryouts actually, and they both have advanced up in their cheer categories, so it's pretty awesome to see them do things that I never could do and never could do.
That's the exact same thing.
Same thing.
Who is your favorite cycling hero?
Frankie Andreu. When I grew up in Michigan riding as a kid, I remember going to the spring training races when I was young, and he'd always show up and he'd race those races. Then you'd see him racing Paris-Roubaix and the Tour de France later in the summer, which was awesome. I used to watch the stage where he finished second on the Champs-Élysées in a break, and he almost made it. It was so close. I watched that hundreds of times. It felt bad, but it's kind of like when you watch, not me though, when people watch that Titanic hoping that that ship doesn't sink, you're just kind of hoping he makes it. He later became my director on Kenda for a couple of years, and he actually wrote a letter of recommendation for my job at FasCat, so it kind of came full circle.
If the big cat gave you a week off on all expense trip to ride anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Okay, this isn't the most glamorous place, but I definitely would want to go to Belgium in the spring. Bike racing is huge there. The Tour of Flanders, Roubaix is not that far away. Just to ride on the Bergs. You can even ride the Ardennes. Catch a bike race or two while you're there. And of course, eat some steak and frites with mayo.
Steak is good, but not mayo. What is your workout? What is the workout you prescribe that your athlete's least favorite, but has the highest ROI?
Right now, it seems like VO2 max Everybody always seems to be busy or work gets in the way of their VO2 max intervals. They can't perform them. I think we just coming off a year and a half of base training and everybody feels like they can do sweet spot for 2 hours. But you ask them to do a 4-minute VO2 max interval, all of a sudden it becomes an issue. But the returns on doing the high intensity training after a proper base is huge.
What vegetable did you eat most recently?
Define recently. Wait, take that back. I did have veggies in my Kung Pao chicken the other day.
Sure. Okay. What is your favorite race and why?
Kind of like why I wanted to go to Belgium. My favorite race is Tour of Flanders. Usually you have to be the strongest to win that race. Usually at the end it's coming down to 2 or 3 racers. It's constantly on from almost start to finish. The last 100K is really hard with all the bergs. I just love it because it comes down to the strongest. For myself, my favorite race that I've ever done was in Philadelphia. It used to be the US Pro Road Race Championships. It was 160 miles. There's some big European teams used to show up for it. This is back when the Europeans could race the US Pro Championships. I know it sounds weird, but that's just the way it was. It'd be like 180 guys, 160 miles around Logan Circle by the Art Museum. But the best part was when you got to go up Maniac Wall. For those that don't know, you should search out YouTube videos, but it used to be thousands of people on this like 1K climb, pitches at 15%, screaming, yelling. You can smell beer, you can smell other things. Big screen TV at the top. There was a thing called a sprinkler with water you could run under because they're usually pretty hot. It was just quite the experience, never forget.
What are you currently training for, if anything?
Not to get dropped in my Wednesday night group rides. And sadly, Zwift racing. It is what it is.
What is your favorite winning in the kitchen recipe?
Okay, this is tricky. I have to cook dinner for 3 people under the age 11, and my taste has gone to that of a 7-year-old. Maddie, do you like salmon?
No.
Carolyn, do you like chicken?
Yep.
That's not a nugget.
No.
So, Lacey, if you come up with a chicken nugget recipe, I'm there.
What is your in-glute post-epic ride or race streak?
Back when I was racing, I would never drink sodas, so my favorite thing was always to have a Coke after a race, like just absolutely crave it. I also wouldn't drink caffeine. I don't drink coffee or anything, so I would never have caffeine, so I could go like a couple weeks without racing. It could be the hardest race ever, but then I would have that Coke after, and I'd be so energized from the caffeine and adrenaline. It was pretty crazy, but that's what I usually love. Oh, and then definitely Mexican food. All the Mexican food I can eat.
Have you ever barfed or blacked out from a workout?
Just most recently trying to do a 4-hour Zwift race. Well, I did it and immediately regretted it as I climbed off my bike, fell on the floor, was in the fetal position as my oldest daughter was videoing me with her cell phone, thinking it was funny. I was shaking, just wondering how I was going to take care of the kids the rest of the day. It was brutal.
If you could take one famous person, dead or alive, for a bike ride, who would it be?
I would probably be, being from Indianapolis and hearing the story, it'd have to be Major Marshall Taylor. Pretty inspirational what he went through and had to do, and he was one of the top athletes at his time when it was probably very hard to be. I'd like to go for a ride with him.
Long ride or intervals? Similarly, training, race, or intervals?
Long ride or intervals? Long ride. This is as long as it's not just, dilly-dallying around, putzing around, going to coffee shop to coffee shop. Like, I just can't do that. It's just not me. I like to give it a little gas, give it a little heat, keep the pressure on. Those are my favorite rides. Everybody nowadays, they all want to do like these big epic 200-mile rides, but you know what? That sweet spot, about 100 miles, 125 miles, just enough fun and just enough hard to have fun. Talking about training race or a interval training session, obviously I'm gonna take this back to Zwift again, sadly. But if I'd rather do intervals on Zwift or would I rather do a training race, obviously it's just a race. But I know how the importance of interval training is and how much more valuable it can be. Not to say that training races, there's no value there, but you get a lot more out of doing intervals and just using training races on the side. And that appears to be 21 questions. Hope you all enjoyed.